Okay, my name is Adele Albright, and I have an amazing story to tell that happened to me while I'm at Bay City Missions. I am a staff member here, and I remember in January, Miss Jenna always challenges us to do something amazing, terrifying, and scary. Well, I heard God at that point in time tell me I was going to jail. Well, I thought to myself, I'm not going to jail. I've already been there and I've done that. And then in May, I went to visit my daughter and my grandkids, and we had gotten into my car, was driving down the road, and got rear-ended. And my brother-in-law got out and looked at the vehicle and said that we probably ought to call the police. And I said, well, I think that's kind of silly. There's no damage. He said, no, you need to. Well, the police came and ended up where they had taken my brother-in-law and spoke with him for a minute, and then also took my daughter and spoke with her. By that time, I was thinking, we have a problem. I don't know why they're not talking to me. Well, a little bit later, the police officer came over to me and said, Miss Albright, we have a warrant out for your arrest. And I said, oh my gosh, what for? And he said, we don't know. We just know we have to handcuff you and take you to jail. So I get in the police car and I go to Liberal, Kansas jail and find out that I did have a warrant out for a $3.79 theft that I had done. And during that time, I was in my addiction and had completely forgotten to fulfill my obligations to Kansas to pay my fine. And I went to court there, was bonded out, but found out during that time also, because I had gotten behind on my court fines in Beaver, that I was going to go from Liberal straight to the Beaver jail. So, and then also the judge said Beaver had 10 days to take me, to come and get me. So during those 10 days, which it ended up only being 7, I knew that God was telling me that, hey, you're going to jail just like I told you to. You're in jail. So as I'm in jail, I was getting where I wasn't really sure what was going on. God was speaking to me, and I had ended up where God was telling me to go and speak to different women that were in the jails. And I went over to one lady and just had a very short conversation, and come to find out she wasn't saved. So we prayed, and she had accepted Christ as her Savior. It ended up while I was in the Liberal jail, where there were 8 salvations there with different women, thinking, okay, this is awesome, God. I just can't believe all this has taken place. But also I want to mention that I was scared, very, very scared for being in jail, not knowing what was going to happen to me in Beaver. And all the staff at the lighthouse had gotten together, and they had actually bonded me out of Liberal to get me over into Beaver during that time as well. And they were in prayer for me like none other. The prayers were so strong that I could literally feel them praying over me during their prayer times. During that time also, I had a family member wanting to have me give all my power of attorney over to this family member, and he thought at the time he was doing everything that he could to help me. And in my heart, I knew that was the wrong thing to do, because God was the one who was going to help me. And through many, many prayers, I knew that, God had me during that whole time. But back to Liberal, we were, the very last night that I was there, this Hispanic lady came in, and God said, you need to talk to her. And I said, oh God, I don't understand how I'm going to do that, because she doesn't speak any English. And he said, do you trust me? And I do, God, I really do. And when I came about, another lady was there, and she was bilingual. And I went over and talked with her, and she said, oh, this would be awesome. Yes, I'll go and help you. So she had, my last night there, she was saved as well. So the very next day, I go over to Beaver, and I'm sitting there in Beaver, and I'm thinking, okay, God, I know you've got me. This is the one that I could possibly go to prison over because my probation could be revoked. And I actually went to court the very next day, and the judge, I got before the judge, and he came up and he said, "Oh, Adele, you look amazing." And I thought, well, thank you, sir. I had no idea who he was. He said, "I can't believe how much you've changed since we sent you to Bay City Missions to go through their program." And I thought, oh my gosh, I've never seen this man before. And found out later that he is actually the man that I met without remembering him when I was very heavy in my addiction. So anyway, he was reading all the paperwork that Bay City Missions had sent to the judge, and he was looking through the papers, and he said, he said, "You do not belong in prison. You don't belong in a jail." And he said, "I'm not going to keep you here." He said, "I want this matter settled right now." He said, "Bay City needs you." He said, "You are working so hard on your life through help with other people." And he said, "I'm going to make sure you get right back where you belong as fast as we can." During that time, within 5 minutes, I had an attorney right there in the courtroom that represented me. Went to the back, we discussed the case, presented it to the DA, and she said, "I'm all for it," but it couldn't be settled for 3 more days. I'm thinking, well, that's good, at least I know I'm going to get out of this place. And anyway, during my 3 days, I went back in to my jail cell, and we had 2 more salvations that was taking place through God, and God helping, minister through me to these people, which was amazing. And then we had one lady that rededicated her life. So during that time, even though it seemed like an impossible situation for me, everybody was, a lot of my family members were thinking, she's really messed up again, and she's going to go to prison over this. And once again, my brother was very sincere when he thought he was doing his best for me, but I knew totally in my heart that God was the one who got me out of a horrible situation of going back into prison, which I never went to prison, but that's what my alternative was during that time. And through prayers from every one of the staff members here, they gave me comp time that they had, collected, and for me to be able to continue to stay here at Bay City. They gave me vacation time, comp time. Miss Jenna allowed me to stay. So God worked out many, many situations in my life, and also through many other people's lives by having at least 9 or 10 salvations. And I'm very thankful that I'm still at Bay City. I love everything about Bay City. They haven't only helped me, but they have helped many, many thousands of people. And it's just an honor to work here at this mission. And I just thank all those who help make all this possible. Thank you.